Hello, this is Hero. This is my SL6 New Game Plus 2 melee only, no damage playthrough of Demon Souls. I always stumble. And here we are on the Tower of Latria. This is one of the very last worlds. This is actually the second last world before I finish off the Latria Palace. And I've saved this world for last because A, it's a very long level, and B, I don't really like the man-eaters all that much. So I've saved them for a bit. And I went into this level thinking that I was going to get lost, and fantastically enough, I didn't really get lost too much, like not as much as I was expecting that I would. And I came in here with the Storm Ruler being all excited because I thought I just wanted to knock these guys around, but actually found out that when that was a dodgy hitbox. I think I didn't intend to walk into that, and I didn't think I would get hit by it because it didn't look like the sphere of influence was big enough. But what you didn't see was another death between then after I tried to hit one of these guys with the Storm Ruler and expected it to go flying, and it didn't go flying. Something that I didn't really highlight in my playthrough, so in the part of my playthrough where I did Shrine of Storms. The skeletons also don't respond to the Storm Ruler, which was really disappointing, because every other humanoid enemy in the game seems to react to it. Not this though. Not these octopus head guard things in the jail, and certainly not the skeletons, and that would have been an interesting way to handle Shrine of Storms instead of, hiding behind my shield and everything. But I mean, you do what you can, really. And I had to handle the Tower of Latria in a way that I wanted to handle it kind of differently. I wanted to use the Storm Ruler and be creative and everything. And just then you might have seen that one of the cellmates inside the jail tried to attack me, and I didn't really know that they were there up until that point, because I knew there were hostile prisoners in the prison, but I forgot which cells they were in. I didn't want to let any of them out, so I'd been using the big ball of body parts down a few floors and through a locked door to activate my hyper mode, and that's kind of unreliable because depending on how many attacks it feels like hitting your shield with at once, it's very probable that it'll kill you before you've managed to get to hyper mode, or it'll hit you 2 times and then you'll think you're safe and you roll out, but then it moves forward a little bit and clips you again and you die, and that's a bit disappointing. But you can actually just aggro a few of the prisoners inside that cell that I almost got attacked from, and if you hold your shield right up against the bars of the cell, then the enemies will attack you. They won't actually be able to break out and find you, but you can control basically when you get your hyper mode, which is some of the issue with finding hyper mode in these games, because you have to find enemies that you can attack, that you can aggro relatively safely and take damage from enough, but still feel comfortable that you're not just going to get immediately insta-killed after you take that damage. So that's always fantastic. And as you can see, I'm making decent progress through the Tower of Latria, because right here I'm remembering that no, you don't keep going, because if you keep going you drop down a hole. So I've run back and I've just seen, this is the door that I have to go through, and there's an enemy right through it. See right there. I opened up the door, and as you can see, when you open things or when you take these pre-canned animations, you are completely invincible basically. And one of the things I actually started to take advantage of soon is that because those prisoners are so early on in the level, I can walk right up to them and activate hyper mode before I've even encountered. I think I have to encounter one of those squid head guys, but otherwise I can just go up to them and activate my hyper mode, and instead of risking taking 3 or 4 shots to kill one of these guards, I can just one-shot it with the Dragon Longsword because it's so powerful in the hyper mode. And this part of Tower of Latria is going so well because I'm remembering, I know where things are, because I think the thing I was actually confused about was finding the the pathway to the Mercury Rapier. Sorry, not the Mercury Rapier, because you actually have to walk along a thin ledge in order to get the Mercury Rapier. But to get to the S-Stock, because I wouldn't have minded another S-Stock. Like I wouldn't really have any use for it, but I wouldn't have minded having like a fatal S-Stock or something, because I wanted to see how much damage you do with the Morion Blade, Clever Rat's Ring, and a really weak enemy, and a fatal S-Stock, because the fatal S-Stock, the fatal upgrade path, increases the damage you get from parries and the damage you get from riposte and backstabs as well. So I wanted to see how much damage I could do with one backstab with a fatal S-Stock on a really weak enemy, and I wanted to see how much damage you could do with a parry. And the parry would be kind of dangerous, but I wanted to see if I could perhaps get over 2k damage, because you could do that in Dark Souls. You can get over 2000 damage, or at least you used to be able to before the Hornet Ring nerf, I think. I mean, you can still do it now if you use things like the what's it called, the Dragon Form attack boost, because you can use that, and that's because you get like a plus 40% increase or something along those lines. And see, this is the point where this is where I activate my hyper mode, and it's a bit unreliable, just to say the very least, because this thing will it'll like do this attack, see, and it hit me 2 times, and I was only expecting it to hit me once. Now it'll either like spam projectiles, or it'll do the arm attack straight away. And what you're looking for is the arm attack, because every time it does because look at it, it's just not responding, you know. Please leave a message after the beep. But there we see I've managed to get down to hyper mode finally, and now that I'm in hyper mode I can switch to the Morion Blade. Don't even have a shield equipped for this level at the moment, and we can go and take on the we can go and open this door, and then we can go and take on the Black Phantom, what's his name, the Octopus Guard, because he caused me some troubles even when I did have the lava bow, and I was relying on the fire stun from the lava bow to keep him stunned while I just peppered him with arrows from far away, and I couldn't do that in this round, obviously. And this isn't part of the level where you can comfortably, like, you can't bob and weave or anything, because that electrical, that paralysis attack that they shoot has quite a wide area of effect, and you're in a very small tunnel. So what I did was I threw a soul remains, and that meant that it got attracted to the soul remains, and I was able to run in and hit it with the dragon longsword. And that is effective use of the soul remains in my eyes, because I had no other way out of that situation that I could easily see. But with a little tactical knowledge, I was able to get the octopus guy to run the other way, and I could capitalize on that. So that was a part of the Tower of Latria that I thought was going to take quite a few tries, but I actually have this tiny little stroke of genius, if I do say so myself, and the octopus guy was felled pretty quickly. And we're not even 10 minutes into the video yet, but I'm already noticing just how long this level actually is, because you've got just how much stuff it has in it, actually, because you got Sage Frake and Riddell locked up in their cells, and you can't get back to them until you've done the White World Tendency event in level 2 of the Tower of Latria, and you can't free them until then. And you've got all these keys that you have to get in this specific order, and you've got all these very dangerous enemies. You've got heaps and heaps of little soul items just inside all the cells, and I think you've got a few rings to collect as well, and you've got all this potential to die. And then even once you get out here, you've got that huge arrow shooting machine on the bridge that really, really scares you the first time, and I tried to roll through on my level 150 character and still got killed, because I think you can actually roll through it without worrying, but I didn't manage to do it. And this is a scary, scary room right here, because I've got I've got two of the octopus guys, just like the normal ones, patrolling both sides of these hallways, and you've got a Black Phantom one as well, who's getting really, really close. And this is me panicking and going, shit, attack, and luckily it only takes 2 hits, but for some reason, either I got blocked by like the Black Phantom and he didn't see me, or I don't know what happened, but he didn't seem to react to the fact that I just killed 2 of his buddies at all, and he started to turn around even. So this is the part of this level where I was going, alright, well, we've only got one Black Phantom left, and I was getting a bit antsy because I only had 3 soul remains left, and I didn't want to have to go back to the Nexus and get some out of Stockpile Thomas, or, you know, even worse, if I didn't have any left then, I didn't have to want to go back to Grave Robber Blige. So what I tried to do was just throw the soul remains, and I threw another one just to keep him distracted, because I didn't know really how long they lasted at this point, so I wasn't using them very often. But I missed with my first attack, didn't get him, and that means that I didn't do enough damage to attack him first, so I ended up dying, and I had to do all of that again, except for the key grabbing, so it wasn't quite as long a trek as before. So I waited and made sure, because I know that little hand movement where they twirl the bell a little bit, that is when they do that big area of effect with the curious hitbox on it. So I just ran up and backstabbed it, and I think that was my last soul remain actually, so I was lucky that worked then, because otherwise I might have been like, nah, you know what, fuck this for tonight. And deactivating this giant machine actually means that you get a lovely shortcut, because instead of having to go through all those octopus guards again, all you have to do is get down to that big body part ball thing enemy that you don't actually have to use to activate your hyper mode anymore, because you've got those prisoners in the cell. But you just run out through that open door, and you can just run past that Black Phantom octopus guy, because if you don't have to kill him and you don't have to worry about coming back again, like with the key, you just don't have to worry about him at all. So you can just run right past and go down the bridge, and you'll end up right where we were before we started going up this spiral staircase and heading towards this dude. And I don't think I explained it in the previous video, but once you kill this dude, this means the Fool's Idol won't respawn, and I have no idea what the special key does. If someone could tell me what the special key does, because I'm lazy and I won't look it up on the wiki, that'd be great, because I have no idea what it does at all. And so this has been 13 minutes already, and this has been with like the few of my deaths that we've had edited out and trimmed, so that you just pick up right where we left off, essentially where I died. And this level took a while, but not as long as it could have, because I knew my way around this time. And I think I said in my last video, I'll never not get lost here. This place sucks. I hate it. And I still hate this place, but I hate it less because I know where to go. And I still get turned around by all those doors. And we've only got one more obstacle here to go. And this obstacle is something you can't even see probably until it attacks you. So always approach this area with your shield up, because if you're not careful, you might just get hit by an arrow. See, I'm waiting. Yep, there we go. How douchey is that of From Software? Because this girl rather, is obviously wearing the thief's ring, and she just appears out of nowhere to you. So the only way to counteract that is by knowing that it's coming, keeping your shield up, or wearing the Grave Robber's ring to make sure that you basically do the same thing to her, and her first instinct won't be to use the crossbow. Now, in my last playthrough, I'm using exactly the same playthrough as exactly the same tactic as I am here. I wait for her to pull out the crossbow, and because it's got such a long recovery animation of it, you've got time enough to use the R2 from the one-handed dragon longsword to do about 500 damage. And this is basically a game of spacing her a little bit, waiting for her to use the crossbow, and then moving in for the attack. Now, I was saying before that this episode is quite long, and it's not even, you know, part 2 of Tower of Latria 2 as well, because Tower of Latria is probably the longest level in the game. It's quite the first part especially is quite long and labyrinthine, and because there's a lot of keys involved and running back and forth and knowing exactly where you have to go. And part 2 is a little bit like that. It depends on if you die or not in some certain spots as to whether it'll take a long time, because you have basically like a first checkpoint where you cut the chains and release part of the heart in the middle of the Tower of Latria, and then you're basically halfway at that point to the other part of the level, which, you know, you cut the other parts of the chains and the entire heart falls down, which at that point opens up the way to the man-eaters. And the journey from the Archstone to the man-eaters isn't that far, because it's basically a straight line, and you just have to activate hyper mode and get up there. But if you die after knocking down the first part of the heart, and then you have to basically do the entire path up to the heart, that part of the heart again, and then continue on further to finish the second part, like the second part of the path. And that can be quite testing if, you know, for example, you manage to die at that point. So yeah, and this is Fool's Idol. So Fool's Idol I had a bit of a funny experience with in my last playthrough, and by funny experience I think I mean it kind of glitched out on me, because it kind of just, I don't know, I see, and this guy, this sneaky idiot that comes up right behind you and tries to attack you, I got killed by him in my first try, in my other playthrough, and this is my first try, because last time when I dodged over here in my winning take, all of the copies of the Fool's Idol, like all the false ones, were gone, and only the real one was there. And the gimmick of this boss fight, you know, the thing to figuring it out, I'm sorry if you can hear the birds outside, they've just started to be noisy because it's no longer raining. The gimmick to this boss fight is figuring out which Fool's Idol is the real Fool's Idol. So, and the danger is like avoiding all the projectiles from all the other copies of the Fool's Idol, which I didn't manage to do just then. And yeah, right here you can see me trying to get some hyper mode going from these guys in the cell. And yeah, I've opened the other one and then I've gone, oh wait, no, that's not the right one to do. So I came over here, and if you attack the cells, then yeah, the hostile one comes over and tries to attack you as well. And yeah, sorry, I think I just left this in for a little bit of comedy. And see, after I got killed at Fool's Idol there, I got a little bit angry, and I went to kill Riddell. And if you saw my last Riddell kill in my other playthrough, then you'll know that I didn't exactly do it a very honourable way. I had the Thief's Ring, or the Grave Robber's Ring on, or whatever, and I had the Lava Bow, and from across a really, really long stretch of room, I shot him in the head with the lava bow. But because I was so far away, by the time he got maybe halfway to me, something in his AI obviously tells him that, well, the player has run too far away from me, I have to return to my original position. And he'd just walk back to his position, and then you just shoot him in the head again. And this took about like 10 minutes of shooting arrows into his head, which I sped up for the footage, and I wasn't proud of putting into my footage, but this time I didn't have that option, and I thought, well, obviously, maybe I'll have to parry him, which isn't so bad, because I did try that last time, but I got really easily frustrated with it, because, you know, Tower of Latria, enough said, I got pretty frustrated with it, so I didn't feel like doing it for too long, and I bitched out. So this time I took him on, you know, man to man, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just use the my shield and, you know, parry him, and because you actually can't block his attacks, especially if you don't have the Dark Silver Shield. And as I explained in my previous video, I can't use the Dark Silver Shield because I don't have enough strength for it. So obviously I don't have a 100% magic block, so even if you get up to him, every time he attacks you, you have to successfully parry him and take no damage while you parry him. Otherwise, you die, and you have to try this all over again. So what I've decided to do here, I didn't show you my first death because it was just me walking up to him and dying, I think. Or maybe that's this one. Yeah, because I did a shove instead of I did a push instead of a normal attack, and that meant that I had a little bit of recovery on that. I missed my attack, and he capitalized on that. So here I come now with my soul remains. So I threw it at the wall there, and I see he got attracted by it, which was cool. And I just grabbed my dragon longsword, and because I'm on hyper mode, sorry, I did a whole lot of damage with that backstab, and he's getting really close really fast. So what I did was use the storm ruler and just get that stun. That stun is so important, because if you don't get that stun, the first thing they're going to do when they get up is just cheap shot you, especially if they've got a really quick weapon. And the halberd class of weapons in this game are surprisingly quick if you don't do this kind of thing, like run up behind them and hit him a few times. And right now he's got his dull rat's ring on, which is basically the blue tier stone ring in this game, and this means that all the damage I do is reduced to about 60% of its regular potential. So right now my heart's beating fast, and yeah, finally he's dead, and that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And that's the phosphorescent pole on the floor just there. And that wasn't a huge struggle, and I think when I did the other method before, that it was just a product of me being really annoyed at the game, and just having no patience for it. So I decided to do the only thing that required basically no effort. So here we are back to Fool's Idol, and I always take the right path because I don't think there's any traps on the right side, and this is like the only path with no enemies or something. So here I come, up to attack it again, and she's already decided to piss off, so I didn't get to hit her that time. But as you can see, look what happened there, because if I slow down the video again and look at that, or just rewind, all of her copies spawned in, and she did as well, but her copies then just disappeared for some reason, and I don't know why. So I've had this glitch happen to me twice, and I've never seen this happen before in anyone else's playthrough. And I've watched, now that I've finished these playthroughs, I've watched a fair few of these Demon Souls Let's Plays that are up on YouTube, and I haven't seen this happen before. I want to know why this happens. Does it have to do with the fact that they spawn in and I'm not looking at them, so something in the draw code in the game tells them not to spawn? I don't know, but at the moment I'm just spamming roll to get away from the only real threat in the room, which is the little shit dudes that are surrounding her. And so this was 3-1, and I'm sorry that the boss was glitched out again, but it's not like I'm going to not capitalize on a glitch if it happens. So this was 3-1. I think we've still got a lovely cutscene to go through, and I have never been able to pick up that shiny behind the altar there. I want to. No, I say I haven't, but I did pick it up on my first character because I actually came back to 3-1 specifically to pick it up because I'd triggered the cutscene and gone up, but then I wanted to come back down again, and I wanted to see what it was. And I think it's the baby's nail. I think it's the baby's nail causes plague. I think if you attack an enemy, and it causes plague. And I think it was useful for player versus player because you had a weapon that inflicted some pretty strong toxic rather than like the toxic inflicted by the Gravelord sword in Dark Souls, because the Gravelord sword doesn't have a really strong toxic rate on it. It does if that toxic rate was more like the dart blowers in Blighttown. Holy shit, would the Gravelord sword be even more scary than it is right now, because as it stands, the Gravelord sword is a dead angle monster in PvP, and got some very decent damage, very good stun lock potential, so people use it and they usually win with it because it's a very good weapon for both PvE and PvP actually. So that was the entirety of 3-1 and pure Black World Tendency with no damage, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.